Salut coders, welcome back to another YouTube tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to differentiate our messages from read and delivered, and we are going to use a background service so that you'll be able to deliver your messages either user is using the phone or is using another application and the user is not using our chat application. So in the other user, someone who sent the message knows that the message has been delivered but is not yet read, and after you read it, it will show two green ticks. If it's delivered, we show two green ticks. If it's not yet delivered, it will be just one single tick. So let me show you by an example. We can say, hi, how are you? So we are sending a message to this user. As you can see, it's showing two white ticks. It means they are delivered. This is the message which is delivered into our chat application. Then it says reply me, and we can send a message, two ticks. So if I click this, as you can see, the ticks changed to two green ones. So this is after the end of this video, we'll be able to implement this using the background service. So if you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload a new videos. And in this channel, we are going to develop real-world application solving real-world problems, and you'll be a great developer in implementing all these scenarios. So let's get started. I refactored the code. So we were doing much of the code in the message view model, in the list view model. So in our repository, which is our RIM provider, I created, that's where I'm now implementing the changes to save the messages and also to save the chats. So this logic is to make the message that is coming from Appwrite to message room, and the same as chat Appwrite to the chat room, our local database. And if you come here, in here we are checking for the events. If it's create or update or delete, then we can delete from our local database, and we are listening this event from our real-time Appwrite real-time. And also this is the method that we are going to use to save message. So we are now at a central point where we save our messages, and in our message view model we just call this method save message, and you save the message. So in this tutorial, we want to implement the background service whereby we'll be able to save a message or a chat in the background, and we can notify the other user that the message is delivered if it's saved in background or the user is not using the application or is on another application, maybe YouTube. We want our application to be able to notice that there's a new message which came and to be delivered, and the other user on the other side knows that the message has been delivered. So there's a library that you want to use, and it's called Flutter background, this one. So let's go to the installation and I'll show you how we can implement with this. So copy this library and let's go to the PubSpec YAML. Let's add the library and click pubget. So after adding the library, let's go to the main method, the main class. In this class, that's where we want to implement the logic. When the application starts, we want to be able to run our background service. So let's go to the example. In this example, they created this method called initialize service. So let's just copy it as it is. And we can copy this and let's delete this local notification. Let's remove this. We can add this dependencies local notification. We want these background services. Copy these imports and add them into our imports. And add a semicolon. So we want to add these methods on start and an iOS background. So there's a two configurations for Android and iOS. So for Android, we want to implement on start, and here they say this method can be run if the application is in foreground or a background. And for iOS, we have the on start. This runs on foreground only, and this iOS background only. This will be to be run in background. So let's add these two methods. We just come here and we can copy the iOS running background. Let's copy this one. We can copy also the comments, maybe you need them. And we can delete this. Let's delete this. The preference, no need. Let's add from .ui. So for on start, we can add this one. So no need for this. Let's delete this timer. Bring to foreground. Let's remove this timer, and let's remove also this custom notification and preferences. So after doing this, we can also come, let's initialize our service in our main before the run. We just copy this and you can come here. Just before the run up, you can add a synchronous. So after doing this, we managed to enable the foreground and background. But in this foreground and background, let me minimize other. They are not necessary. This is also not necessary. We want to focus on few methods here. So the purpose of using this background and foreground on our on start, we want to implement our changes to read the to be able to save our messages on background and also on foreground. So to save this or any real-time changes, we want to save them in this background and foreground services. So we can leave the view model doing on its purpose of like viewing the content, but we have another central point where we are doing that, and we are going to manage here saving and saving of messages and chats. So what you want to do, let's test by running this application. So our application failed to run here. Let's see the issue. Widget Flutter binding. You can fix by either calling widget Flutter binding. So let's add this method. Let's run our application again. And this is the app. I opened the wrong email letter. So as you can see, our application is running correctly, and we can just click here and say hi, like what we did on the previous. So the problem that we have right now is like the application is running, but we are not sure if the message has been delivered or not. So we want to implement the delivered here so that we know that the message is delivered. On the previous video, we just say clicking a single tick, either delivered or not delivered. So this is the problem that you want to solve. So let's go in here. Let's go to our view model and let's copy our class called this synchronization. So let's copy this. So real-time synchronization, we want to call this method in here in start and also in iOS background. Here and here, that's why we want to call this method. So the problem that we have is that in our main, you can see we don't have the reference of this riverpod, and we want to use this reference before the application starts. So we can solve this by adding a provider container. So let me show you how we can do this. So in here, before we call initialize service, we want to add a container which is final. We want to call this provider container. So in our container, we also want to add, we want to read some of the providers that we have, and we have a list of providers that we want in our before we run the application. So these are, first one is this one. Let's copy this and we can import this one, and we want also to read our real-time provider, which is this one. I will do one, this one, this one. We want to read. So in our return provider, let's see if we have another dependency here that we want. We want to read real-time provider, which is this one. So we need this one also. So before we call this one, let's add this one. And we want our room. And we also want our database provider. I'm also thinking that we also need this storage later on, so let's just add it here. Let's import. So after doing this, here we were using the provider scope, and we have to change this to uncontrolled provider scope, which is uncontrolled. Uncontrolled provider scope, and it requires a container, and we can put this container here. But this thing is only available here, and we don't have it here. So on start, it only requires a service instance, and we want to pass this into on start. So how can we solve this? We can solve this by copying the let's make it this one global, and you can say container and here we just say equals to globe container. After doing this, let's now go here. We're using ref here. We can now use this one, and we can import this from here, and we can import our strings, and we can use our message Appwrite, but we have another issue. We want our user ID. So we use our user ID, or if the sender ID is equal to this one, so let's delete the other one. So if the sender ID is equal to this one, the sender user ID is equal to user ID or receiver ID, we want to save only for the messages that are designated to my user. So if it doesn't match, we can't do anything here. So we want to do the same for a chat. We want to listen for also the chats. For the chats here, we just say collections chat ID, and we can change this one message it will be chat Appwrite. And here for chat, we want to get chat whereby it's my receiver ID. So here we just save we want to save chats. So what we can do is to use our container, global container, read. So we have our repository, which is our realm one. We just copy. We want to save the chat. Create chatted, which is the chat that we have, and here to be next document, and the type will be next.type and here to be a user ID. So by doing this, we managed to receive our chatted. This is our chatted. So what we can do also here, we can do the same for our message, and here it was just a message, and we want to save for save message. So after doing this, we'll be able to save our messages into our chat, into our realm from the background or foreground service. So if you go here, you can see this is the implementation that we added. We already knew this. We just moved the code from view model to here, and this is the message upstream. You can create, delete like that. That's all. So we can save our messages here. So if we run our application, we can see it's saving. We just say print saved message. After doing, we want to make sure that the real-time synchronization is working. So let's just run the application. Just say hello. After sending, you're supposed to see saved message. Saved message. Don't worry about this exception. So we managed to save our message, and you can see we are using container global even before our riverpod is being used. So this is how to use a riverpod before the run app. So we can use the container global, and you can implement the other logic. So after doing this, let's go to our view module. We want to modify something. So our service is now listening. As you can see, in our main, we are now listening to the real-time synchronization. As you can see, we have this real-time synchronization, and this one is for real-time, and this one is for the charts. So in our charts, this one and this one, they are listening to the same thing. So we want to use, which is in main, we want to save our messages into our local storage. In this one, we just want to show the message, and we don't want to implement the saving. So currently we're saving also the same message twice, although our implementation is not doing duplicates. So we want to refactor this. So let's go to our message view model. So we want to remove this, because this logic is being done in our foreground or background. So let's remove the write, delete. So our application here, it will be just copying the new message that we have and paste it there. So let's see what we can do here. We were saving the message, but we don't want to save the message. We want to use this method, which is map message realm. So we don't want to save the message, so we just want to use this one, which we created, and it does not have a type or a state. So we just want to copy, and it won't be now here. Save message, and where is it being called also? in our loading. So we want also to remove this, and if you go to our save messages, let's remove our wait. Let's copy this and go to the loading also. I want to show you. So here, in here, this is the the get messages is we are pulling the data from the database. So we want also to save. This one is called when initializing this page. So we can put the latest messages. So what you want to do, we just say message 1, it's okay, and we want to save this one, but we don't want to map this one. If you are creating a new one, we just copy this, it requires a user a type and a user ID. Type, I can say, okay, let's leave it like that, and we can say user ID the state dot my user ID. And if you go to this method, we have list of types, and I can say this type is, we are using this type when loading. That's why I created the loading type, because we are loading these messages. So is it await? Yes, let's add await. We don't care about this. And after we are done with this, we just go initialize, which is state dot my user ID and state dot my friend friend user ID. So after doing this, we are saving all the messages, and what we can do, we can order by this, it's okay. So let's do the same in our, let's implement the same logic in our chat list view model. Chat list view model, we are creating chatted. Here it's okay. We are creating the chatted and it's being saved, as you can see here, because it's also the get chats just the same. After doing that, we initialized our friends. And here, let's remove this. It's being done in our, you can see, let's delete this. So it will be listening to this. It will be listening to this. And here, we don't want to create a chatted. We want to map like what we did. We just want to map to chat view message, and we can remove the other parts, and it's not an await. So this logic, our view, this view, it's only, we are now using this view just to put the to display the data and listening, and our background is responsible for storing our messages locally. So if you don't have data or you're out of data, you can even see your previous you can see your messages and chats or chats history because we are saving the data. So if you click this initialize, you can see in our initialized we are pulling this data from our from realm. So you can see your old history when you initialize the application. If you don't have data, if you have data, we can put them the same messages also, and we can get the latest messages. But once we are in conversation, our real time can add new messages. So let's run our application again. And you can see hello, so that we want to see if we didn't break anything. Type anything. You can see our application is working as expected, and it's being updating here based on what we have. So after doing this, we are able to put the data, and but we did not yet implement the delivered. So where should we implement the delivered? We should implement the delivered in here in our main. So when we read our messages in our sync, you can see here, after we create our charted here, no, not charted, in our messages, we are more focusing on the messages right now. So in here, we want to implement our, so what we can do, we just copy this method which we created into our message realm. This one, let me look for it. This one, let's just copy this one, and let's go back to our main. And in here, we want to use message Appwrite. This one. And string, which is my user ID. We want to know if the message is my user ID, my message. Is it my message? Yes or no? So after doing this, we can come here. We want to go to the collection here. So we can do this logic if my message, and it requires this message, and user ID. So by doing this, so it will be my message, but for a delivered one, it means we want to look for it's my message, right? But we want to see if it's not my message. You want to see that this is not my message. So for those which is not my message, I want to make them delivered. So here you just say it's not my message, and let's add this. The message dot delivered is false, or a message dot delivered is null. So if it's null, we want to be able to, we will then want to call the method to update the delivered to true, because the message is has been delivered. So let's implement the logic here. And which provider do you want to take? It's not Realm. Let's see which providers. I think we have to use messages provider repository. Yeah. So in this provider repository, don't have the delivered. So let's just copy this. update delivered, update message delivered. And in our let's see our model, what's the name of the, I think it's delivered. Let's see, to be sure it will be true. So let's copy this. And also, if it's a read, it means if message is read, it means it has been delivered. So we just put a delivered also here. For delivered, it can be delivered but not yet read. So that's why I didn't say read here. So after doing this, let's see how this one has been called in our message item. It was called like this: message repository provider. Let's come here. We just say container, here our global container, and let's import our message. But here we want to use our document, which is our, I think we have the document. Let's see this one, which is this one. So we just say document.$id. We want to update for the ID $id. So we can mark this as delivered. So after doing this, let's see again. After doing this, I think we just print message delivered, and I think we didn't add this one, which is message delivered. I think we did not add this provider. Let's add it in our container also. So let's run and see. So we can go to our database and you can see all of our messages that we have right now. Some of them are read, some of them read are true, but the delivered are false. So we want to see the delivered. So let me set up my other let me set up the other device. So we can see I brought two devices here, and this is the other one. So let me run the iPhone 14. And I can send a message here, just say hello. You can see the message is here and it's saying hello and it's delivered. I think the problem is that we did not change. Let's go to our main class here. On our delivered method, we called update message seen instead of calling the delivered. So that's why we are seeing this happening. Let's run on iPhone iPhone 14 here, and let's also run on iPhone 14 Plus. So let's test the delivered. I can say hi like this, and you can see hi here, and the message, it has been delivered, but here we are seeing a single tick. But if you go to this message which is hi, or I can just say last message, and we can check it into the database. Last message, this one. So let's go to the database, and you can see the, let's reload, let's go to the, you can see the last message and the delivered is true, but the red is false, which is this one. So let's add 2 ticks here so that we know that the message has been, for if it's delivered we want to show 2 ticks, but when it's red we show 2 ticks with the green, but when it's delivered 2 white ticks. So where we can implement this into our chat message here. Let's see where we can implement. So for red we want 2 ticks. We just do this. If it's red, or delivered, if delivered is true or it's red, we need 2 ticks, right? But when it's red, we leave it like we show green ticks, otherwise we show white ticks. So let's run our application also here. So you can see the messages are 2 ticks because they are just delivered, but they are not yet read. So I can say hello, and if I send the message, you can see 2 ticks because they are delivered but not yet read. So let me click the red. You can see they are now greens. It means they are now red. So this is how we can implement the delivered and read on chat application. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you are now understanding the flow of the chat application, from delivered, the difference between delivered and read, and how we can implement these two. And I showed you the best way to implement these two, and we are using riverpod, and I showed you how to use a ProviderContainer before our application starts up, so that we can manage this, and we can do this in our background. Even a user is on another application, will be able to receive the messages into our red. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you are new to this channel, may kindly subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload a new video. Salut coders.